Did you see what I did there? A tiny little change to my setup is going to eliminate hitting chunky chip shot. What happens too frequently when we're around the greens, when we've got a chip or a pitch shot, we tend to try and do too much. We try and almost think that we need to have lots of feel and movement to really try and hit those crispy chip shots and mini pitch shots. But it's so much better to reduce the variables. And what I mean by that is not just with the setup, getting that as accurate and consistent as we can, but it's how we move in the movement, basically. Everyone starts to think about what's going on with the hands and this movement here, because that's our connection to the club. We're trying to make something happen to the club face and work it that way. But what that does, it doesn't mean that's incorrect. What happens is we sort of forget what other effect the rest of the body can do. Whether it's your core, rib cage, your head movement, or whether it's your lower body. Most people don't even consider what their lower body is doing round the greens. Good contact with your chip shots is always reliant upon the low point control. That low point control is basically in my little arc of where this club is moving. Where do I want my lowest point to be as I swing the club down? We do not want it before the ball. We do not want it too far past the ball, especially with chip shots. It's actually not too dissimilar to full swings. We have the same goal to control that low point. And this drill I've used many times for myself and students. I realize we can apply this to pitch shots and chip shots especially, because it eliminates one of the biggest mistakes. What we're going to look at is what the leg is doing. If the leg is having too much movement this way, okay, what that's going to do is actually cause us to sort of get over the top and lower my body, so my low point is actually a little bit further behind the ball here. And this can happen because we're a bit tentative, we're trying to maybe just use the hands, we're trying to create some energy this way, we're trying to sort of move it through, but it doesn't have the intention or the result that you think it's going to do. When I take my downswing, if this leg collapses, I'm in a world of variables. Too many things happen. So we create more consistency by minimizing the variables, right? That's one of the main principles of the art of simple golf. So what we're going to do, this is going to feel weird at first, but I want you to actually lock out your trail leg. Doing your normal sort of chipping setup, but I'm locking out my trail leg. Now this is going to feel weird at first, I assure you, but what it's going to do is actually ensure a lot less movement where we don't need it, and it's going to help us control exactly where we can descend onto the back of that ball. So I'm going to take my normal setup, but I'm straightening out my leg. Everything is the same. I'm going to keep this triangle intact, but now I'm just going to move my club backwards and forwards, still trying to sort of get everything through. I'm not just stalling, I'm not keeping this static and keeping my head down. The only difference is locking out this trail leg. I'm not trying to do anything different, and we're just chipping through. And what you'll notice with that action is it's very simple in the way that nothing really happens. I'm almost presetting my impact just because of that trail leg. It moves my low point just past the ball here. All I need to do from here is just back and forth. You can use a sand wedge, you can use this with your gap wedge, you can use it with whatever. 9-iron is a great way to use it as well. If you're having problems with flipping, chunking, thinning, just all sorts of different types of bad shots that you don't want and those strikes, lock out your trail leg, hit mini chip shots, and you will find that low point control is much easier. Do I want you to lock out your leg on every chip shot? No, because it does limit our options. But for a baseline of understanding what we're trying to do and to get rid of those chunky chip shots, locking it out will help. But the best way I can suggest we try and do it is actually start out with it fully locked, okay? We're starting out fully locked, but as you get more comfortable and keep getting those consistent strikes that you want, we just ease off the locking. We're still kind of straight and firm. The main thing is we're not allowing it to collapse or any way, shape or form. So I reduce the straightening, but I still have the firmness in my leg. And as we progress through, it will start to feel a lot more sort of harmonious, where you can just chip very, very easily with very few modifications. So give that a try.
It's magic.
We want to avoid digging the leading edge of the sand wedge in, okay? We want to try and deliver the club pretty much vertical and straight. As we swing back, we're, as a general rule, trying to strike the ball when that club is more or less vertical. A little bit ahead is fine, but that's the sort of general rule. So what can we do to ensure that happens a bit more often? Let's say you normally set up around here. You're probably thinking ball in the middle of your stance, down below your sternum here. However, what that does can basically make that shaft be the hands be too far ahead and that shaft lean digging in a little bit. So all we need to do is actually move that ball further forward. It might feel strange at first, but if you have it very far forward, almost like on the outside of my left foot, it's going to feel like, oh, that's way ahead. But what happens is it's going to avoid that digging down too much, and it's going to deliver more of a shallower sort of angle of attack. It means you can still get steep, which we want, but we're not going to be digging in. So we're able to brush through the grass that way just by moving that ball forward. It's the easiest tip in the world to improve your chipping contact when you move that ball forward. And what it does by moving that ball forward, it moves your chest slightly ahead as well, which makes sure that that low point, our angle of attack, is sort of ahead of the ball. And we're not hanging back and we're not trying to use the hands too much. It really simplifies our delivery and impact. Now, let's go on to the drill. The benefits of this are so profound because for our chipping game, what it helps us do is understand what we're trying to feel when it comes to our body movement. You see, with chipping, a lot of times I see people just using their hands too much or trying to not use enough of their hands, but they're just using their arms and they're staying put. Then the wrists flip through, or trying to help it up this way. Basically, it's more like a real full swing than you might realize, because we still want a good sequence. We still need some form of connection and reliability. And it starts from the setup, and then it is about really understanding what we're trying to do with the body and the arms and how they can work harmoniously together to be able to deliver some form of consistency. And this drill really does give that aha moment because it's so effective. What we're going to do, you're going to take your setup normally, weight forward, and yes, I would actually like you to move that ball just a little bit further forward, an inch or so to what you normally would, just to help emphasize this. All right, so here's my normal setup, but what I'm going to do is remove my lead hand, my left arm, and I'm going to place it on my trail arm bicep here. What that's going to do is help me almost compress it a little bit. I'm not really squeezing it in tight, I'm just compressing it onto my chest here. So I'm making sure that my sort of lower arm, inside arm, is connecting to my upper chest and rib cage a little bit here. By doing this, I can't realistically just use my wrist. I can't realistically use my arms, because doing any of them fires my body to work a little bit better. I can feel it within here, my core, my chest, my sternum is more the guiding point rather than the club head or my hands. I'm not feeling too tentative in the hands. I'm holding the club pretty lightly, but I've got a good grip on it, kind of like a hammer, or I'm not letting the bird fly away, basically, if I was holding a bird in my hand. But by connecting my upper chest and doing smooth, slow movements this way, feeling like I'm almost chipping with my core and my club and arms are just following, it gives a very different sensation of being a lot more organized. And you can hit shots like this, okay, until you get used to that sort of feeling of like, what do I need to do? Even there, when I did that one, I actually allowed my arm to come off a little bit and I didn't get quite the correct strike. So in essence, in the real world, if I wasn't doing that drill, what would have happened? I would have used my arms a little bit too much and my body would have stalled. I may have got away with it, I may not have.
She almost got away with it.
So I'm going to really try and execute this drill a little bit better. This is a bit tricky, this drill, so I'm going to make sure that I really do execute it properly. I'm not going to try and hit it too far to begin with. I'm just going to try and get that nice, consistent strike. And it's a challenging drill, but it's so effective. And the thing is, you don't need to be on a golf course to do it. You can practice this at home. Reverse going, or go back and forth from doing the drill one-handed to 2 shots. I would suggest something like a 2-to-1 ratio until you get more comfortable with it. And when you're out on the golf course, you can always use the drill just to sort of remind yourself what you're trying to feel before your actual shot. That is going to make a big difference to your game. Watch this video next so you don't miss as many greens in the first place, and I will see you next time.